Making something that's different but the same is not an easy task, and it's even harder to top an established original series, but that is what all of these spin-offs managed to somehow do. So I'm Gareth, this is What Culture, and here are 10 TV spin-offs better than the original. Number 10, Daria. Original show, Beavis and Butthead. Beavis and Butthead, which itself spun out from short film Frog Baseball, was lewd, crude, and frequently hilarious. A clear forerunner to South Park, it mixed satirical observations and outlandish humour to often great effect, although its very nature meant it was often hit and miss. Daria, which wasn't created by Mike Judge but did centre on a character established in Beavis and Butthead, took a very different approach. It distanced itself quite literally from the off, with Daria's family moving to a new town, and that distancing would only continue through the show's 5 seasons. Smart and sophisticated, where Beavis and Butthead was dumb and silly, Daria was one of the first shows to truly capture the essence of high school. Like, say, Freaks and Geeks that would arrive a couple of years later, the show was not only incredibly fresh, but also authentic. It was a hell of a combo. It helped that the writing was razor sharp in its observations and genuinely funny to boot, but with a sweetness not found in its parent show to make it much more rounded. With Daria herself fleshed out into a high school protagonist unlike any audiences were really used to at the time, mixing her smarts with an acerbic wit. This was ahead of its time and also ahead of Beavis and Butthead. Number 9, Mork and Mindy. Original show, Happy Days. A classic American sitcom, Happy Days had a lot going for it prior to literally jumping the shark. With a great cast, its 50s nostalgia, and a fun sense of humour. But one thing it mostly didn't have was Robin Williams. The actor guest starred in an episode of Happy Days that sees him appear as Mork in Richie Cunningham's Dream, which was planting the character to set up a spin-off. Mork came to Earth, was taken in by Mindy, and the show was born. It didn't get the same reception as Happy Days, nor its other spin-off, Laverne and Shirley, but it deserves a better legacy than it has. It didn't play things as safe as the other shows, and its plot offered up commentary on American culture and human nature that was as insightful as it was entertaining. The whole cast was solid too, but of course the magic ingredient was the legendary Williams. He was a singularly gifted comedic talent, and this was one of the first showcases of it. He would frequently improvise his lines, so much so that gaps were left in scripts for this to happen. And while he'd go on to do much bigger and better things, everything great about him is on full display here, ensuring that this was always guaranteed to make you laugh out loud. Man, I miss Robin Williams. Speaking of the late great man, I want to know right now, what is your favourite ever Robin Williams performance? Hey, maybe it was from Mork and Mindy. You let me know in the comments right down below. Number 8, Phoenix Nights. There was a time in the early 2000s when, in the UK at least, Peter Kay was the man. He had 2 great stand-up specials, he had That Peter Kay Thing, and he had Phoenix Nights, which spawned its own not quite as great but still good spin-off, Max and Paddy's Road to Nowhere. That Peter Kay Thing was a 6-part series, each focusing on a different set of characters. And it was the characters of the Neptune Club, the show's 2nd episode, that became the spin-off. The Neptune became the Phoenix, but it retained just about everything else and expanded upon it over the course of 12 episodes. Like Fawlty Towers and The Office, it's the kind of show where you can't believe only a dozen episodes were ever made, because of how endlessly rewatchable they are, and few shows have so perfectly encapsulated and lovingly satirized the working class North. I hold it very, very dear to me heart. With an array of colourful characters, some absurd moments of humour, but a lot of warmth behind it too. This is a linchpin of British comedy in the 2000s. Number 7, Xena, Warrior Princess. Original show, Hercules, The Legendary Journeys. Xena first appeared in Hercules' first season, but the character was initially supposed to be limited to just 3 episodes, and all set to die in her 3rd. What? However, the reception was so great that not only did they change those plans, but they launched an entirely new series based around the character too. While Hercules itself offered up some swords and sandals fun and was popular in its own right, it was very much just okay. And Xena Warrior Princess went to a whole new level, baby. Warrior Princess did offer up some of the same swordplay action as its predecessor, and for many that would have simply been enough. But the show also offered up a far more complicated journey as it set Xena on the path of redemption. It was unabashedly female-driven, paving the way for heroes like Buffy, but also did a great job of deepening the mythology and lore of the series too. It might not stand up to many fantasy series today, but this was still an important step in raising and meeting the ambitions of the genre, while being wholly entertaining at the same time. And that is exactly what you want. Number 6, NCIS, original show, JAG. NCIS is now so ubiquitous a franchise, with 22 seasons and a few spin-offs of its own, it's easy to forget that it actually started life elsewhere. That was on JAG, which itself ran for 10 seasons, with characters and concepts that would make it into the show being introduced in its 8th season. JAG was a solid enough legal procedural with a military twist, but NCIS, which has more in common with the similarly named CSI, takes a more forensic look at things, and has been all the more interesting to watch because of it. It helps too that it's had such a great cast and strong characters led by Mark Harmon, and its premise and writing means that even in season 22 it remains effortlessly watchable, which could not be said for JAG by the end of its own run. If you're enjoying learning about the spin-offs that were better than the originals in this video right here, then hit subscribe, baby, and you'll get even more of these wonderful What Culture videos each and every day. Number 5, Torchwood Children of Earth, original show, Doctor Who. When Doctor Who was revived back in 2005, it introduced us not just to a new Time Lord and his new companion, but also another time traveler, Captain Jack Harkness. Instantly a fan favourite played by John Barrowman, the spin-off Torchwood was launched just a few years later. It's quite debatable which is the better of the two series, since both have been inconsistent over the years. Torchwood dipped in season 2, and Miracle Day didn't start off too strong, and Who can live or die depending on the Doctor, the showrunner, or just what exactly Stephen Moffat is going for. So okay, it is a bit of a cheat, but if the playing field is relatively level, then there is one run that stands above them all. Torchwood's 3rd season, titled Children of Earth, was a 5-episode event series that aired over the course of the week. Tackling an alien invasion with them demanding Earth's children, it becomes a dark, tangled conspiracy that left audiences glued to screens for 5 nights running. It manages to keep the action grounded while still offering up sci-fi thrills, and mixes that with real suspense, human drama, and some gut-wrenching emotion. Post-2005, the Whoniverse has honestly never been better. Number 4, Star Trek The Next Generation, original show, Star Trek The Original Series. Star Trek blazed a trail when it debuted in 1966, completely changing the game for what a sci-fi TV show could be. It had great characters and strong storylines, although it was cut short after just 3 seasons. While movies fleshed things out further, it was The Next Generation that mostly fully realized the potential of Star Trek as a TV show. Starting in 1987 and running for 7 seasons, it was afforded much more time to grow and used it wisely. The characters were better developed, the aliens more imaginative, and the stories were much richer. The Next Generation essentially took all of what made the original series great, expanded upon it, and was able to toss out anything that didn't work or was outdated. It was able to lean harder into its sci-fi trappings than the original series ever was, which in turn helped turn it into a smarter, more nuanced series. And at the heart of it all was the mighty Patrick Stewart Picard, the finest captain to ever grace a Trek series. Am I wrong? I'm not. Number 3, Saved by the Bell, original show, Good Morning, Miss Bliss. A sitcom centered on the life and career of high school teacher Miss Bliss, and set in Indianapolis, this Disney Channel show had some of what would eventually become Saved by the Bell, but lacked the focus and writing to really make it work. It was cancelled after just 1 season, after which NBC took back the rights and threw out a lot of it, but kept a few key ingredients. Most importantly, they retained Mark-Paul Gosselaar, Lark Voorhees, Dustin Diamond, and Dennis Haskins, with Zach, Lisa, Screech, and Mr. Belding making the leap to Bayside High, California. They were joined by AC Slater, Jesse Spano, and Kelly Kapowski, and the focus shifted more to be on their friendships, relationships, and bending of the school rules, with Zach becoming the face of the show, and his fourth wall breaking adding a new dimension. Miss Bliss episodes were later woven into the series, but Saved by the Bell essentially started as a spin-off, and it actually realizes the potential Miss Bliss had. It touches on generational themes that affect most teenagers, but is mostly a light-hearted, funny, and sweet portrayal of high school life. It also had a hell of a theme song. Number 2, Frasier, original show, Cheers. It's no easy task following up a beloved, decade-spanning ensemble sitcom with a spin-off that focuses on just one character and moves them to a new city. I mean, just ask Joey. Frasier, however, defied just about all expectations to not only match the high bar set by Cheers, but leap all the way over it. Cheers was essentially Friends before Friends was, Friends. It's a perfect example of a hangout sitcom, with a wide array of wonderful characters, a lot of heart, and very accessible humor. Frasier, on the other hand, is focused on a smaller cast, and attempts to take a more sophisticated look at things, which is exactly where the humor comes in. The series is a high farce, and perfectly pitched as such. The masterstroke isn't just the casting of David Hyde Pierce as Frasier's younger brother Niles, with the two going toe-to-toe in a battle of pretentiousness, but John Mahoney as their father, who gives the series its warmth and cuts right through the BS. The show's mix of high and low humor meant it was as funny as any of its peers, but it was just how clever it was that really set it apart, folks. And number 1, The Simpsons, original show, The Tracy Ullman Show. The Tracy Ullman Show was a great example of how to do a variety series, with its superb writer's room ensuring it regularly generated laughs and critical approval, if not high ratings. It'll always be remembered, however, for giving life to the Simpson family. Producer James L. Brooks invited Matt Groening to turn his Life in Hell comic strip into animated shorts for the series, which would play before and after commercials. Groening instead created The Simpsons, based upon his own family life. The shorts initially alternated with Dr. N. Godatu, but proved so popular they became a permanent addition. And in 1989, they got their own series, starting with a Christmas special. Oh, we all remember that. The rest, as they say, is wonderful history. The Tracy Ullman Show ended after 4 seasons, while The Simpsons is so much more than a TV show. Running for 36 seasons and counting, it is a piece of pop culture history, a true TV phenomenon, and the finest, funniest sitcom ever made.